This supplemental appropriation bill is important. It's timely. One of the provisions in it is an additional $225 million for the Iron Dome defense. The Iron Dome defense is a joint effort by the United States and Israel to protect Israel from rocket attacks. Imagine you're living in your hometown and a neighboring state or a neighboring town just fired 2,000 rockets into your hometown. These are not 4th of July rockets. These are deadly rockets that kill. You want some protection, and the Iron Dome provides protection for Israel. This joint effort by the United States and Israel has been successful. Despite 2,000 rocket attacks, the casualties on the Israeli side have been minimal, relatively minimal, and it's because of the Iron Dome defense. What attacks does Israel face today? Well, they face Hamas attacks from Gaza. Hamas is an organization which the United States characterized as a terrorist organization almost 20 years ago. We know Hamas. We know their tactics. What they're doing is putting rocket launchers in civilian neighborhoods, near hospitals and apartments and homes. And they're launching these missile attacks on Israel and daring them to fire back into civilian populations. Iron Dome protects the Israeli population from the missiles being shot by Hamas in Gaza, and now the Israelis have invaded Gaza to go to the source to stop these rocket attacks. Sadly, during the course of this effort in Gaza, there have been casualties. Some on the Israeli side, of course, but hundreds, maybe 1,000 on the side of the civilian population in Gaza. This is because the strategy of Hamas is to put their armaments smack dab in the middle of civilian populations. As has been said in Israel, they use weapons to protect civilians, and in Gaza, they're using civilians to protect weapons. That has to come to an end. We have to have an end to the hostilities between Gaza and Israel. No nation on earth would sit still for 2,000 rocket attacks into their population. And that's what Israel's faced over the past several weeks. But the people of Gaza also need much better than they're receiving when it comes to Hamas. Hamas, sadly, is engaging in tactics using human shields at the expense of the civilian population. When they are told about the civilians that are dying in Gaza, leaders in Hamas say, well, they're martyrs to the cause. Well, I'll have to tell you, it'd be very difficult for me to understand and explain to a family that's lost a child that they love that their child has just become a martyr. This has to come to an end. It has to end with the hostilities between Gaza and Israel, and it has to end, I hope, in some negotiation and peaceful resolution. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I do believe we need to make the effort. I commend Secretary of State Kerry for his effort in trying to engage Egypt and others in this conversation. The supplemental bill before us today provides more money for interceptor missiles for Iron Dome to protect Israel. Money requested by our Secretary of Defense, money which I support. As chairman of the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, we added some $350 million for Iron Dome defenses in the next fiscal year, which begins October 1st. This money is needed now because of the hostilities between these two countries, and I certainly support it.